How did you go about making those probably painful decisions as to what you would downsize? Did you have to give up the rented land or not? Or which grazing customers would you give up? And like, would you have to give up winter feeding or not? How did you come up with like a concrete plan to say, like, you know what, if we get rid of these things, we'll be able to actually take time off, live like normal people with vacation, and maybe enjoy our lives more? How did you make up that plan?
So I'm going to admit to you that just because I'm a financial advisor's son doesn't make me a great businessman. And uh, so to make good decisions, you need good information. And so just on the wintering front, for not 8 years, we were wintering cows. We were basically an all year operation. We were wintering cows, and then those same cows would be grazing and so forth. We made money in the summer and we made no money in the winter. My dad's and I kept saying to my father, my financial guy, hey, we're doing okay. And he said, well, why don't you track your labor? What are you billing your tractor out at? And so forth and so on. And so I kept track of it on my grazing chart, the hours every day. You start the tractor, you do these things. And the yardage that you got and the handling of the bales, whatever, it was a loss. So it's easy. Stop.
Yeah.
Except when you decide to change the direction, it affects your customer and your customer leaves.
Yeah.
So you make a conscious decision to say, hey, we're not making any money unless you're going to pay us more, or we can get more efficient or whatever. So, and then the rented land, we weren't the rented land. The rent was getting too high. The land that we got was marginal, and we've been renting it for like 20 years. So it wasn't like, and I had a few grazing customers that were slow payers. And who needs to have rental property? You're running around, right? When I get done my work job, I come and I move cows. And then on the weekends, you're driving around. The rental farms are like 5 to 10 miles away. And then on the weekends, if you want to take off, you have to worry about these other entities. And so there's stress, not just the financial consideration. You're like, what the hell do I need this stress for? So when we looked at the ledger, the financial ledger, and the time in the getting our time back for this camping and grandchildren days, we basically traded, and we concentrated better management, more focused on our own property with the customer, our best customer.
Yeah.
So we all, you could say, well, it's a wash, except we got our time back. We didn't have the stress of worrying about other properties. In the middle of the night, stuff can happen because the rental property is over next to College Town, and drunk people pee on the fence, or they throw beer cans, or they wreck, right? And you have custom grazed cattle over there, and it's a shit show. It could be, right? And you have to live with that. And so when you go on vacation for a few days, the worry is basically paralyzing. Yeah. And we had known, because of my brother's situation in that funeral week, where we reflected on, Jesus Christ, we don't need that kind of stress. We're in our middle 50s. What are we doing? Do we want our time? Do we want all the money? What's the balance? And so we, again, decided to come back home, really do a great job at home on our land and our management and everything else. And then we have actually added some value back on our property. We just picked up a hunting lease for twice the money, right? So you're concentrating back home instead of worrying about other properties was a good fit for us. Because I work plenty of hours. I don't have to worry about putting the hours in. And then, so with that, same money, less cows, but longer graze periods, we were able to put on more rest for these pastures and get some vacation time, where this last year we got, there was 2 instances where we were off for more than 7 days, which is crazy in farming.
Yeah.
We didn't go halfway around the world. We were within 2 hours, but the amount of pleasure from not worrying, because you have a ton of feed, you have good fences and water, and you don't have to worry about cows being moved. And we've been in the business long enough to have hired help, and you say, hey, can you move here's what I want you to do, just move the fence from this post to this post every day. And when you get back after a weekend, like, the fence is everywhere. You're like, how did this like, you got diagonals and you got like, what happened? I just can't. I just as soon put them in a big paddock, and I guess not to adhere to the recipes of regenerative agriculture, where you're supposed to move cows, all the time. And I'm saying, whoa, step back a minute. It's okay if your herd gets a big ass paddock for 3 days. It's okay.